Welcome to Portland Tea Party. I'm Ciara Pressler, your host. This is your favorite show about Portland, the tea, and where the party's at. And let me tell you, I am partied out. Y'all, last weekend, I went to the 3-day Essence Festival in New Orleans. It was on fire. Dozens of artists, hip hop, R&B, so many different speakers, surprise guests. It was amazing. And of course, my favorite part was one of the satellite events, the Global Black Economic Forum. There were so many world leaders, politicians. The Congressional Black Caucus was there. Kamala Harris was there. It was incredible. I'm getting chills. And they just uploaded all the videos from those sessions to YouTube. So you can go on YouTube, and when you're done watching all the episodes of Portland Tea Party, you can watch the panels from the Global Black Economic Forum. I got to go back and watch all of them because I missed some. And then, of course, there were all kinds of great guests as well at the concerts and throughout the day at the convention center in New Orleans. I learned so much, and I want to share all that joy with you. So definitely go check it out. But the only thing that brings me more joy than a hip hop concert is my favorite movie of all time, Newsies. So we are here with Portland's own Newsies, and we're going to find out everything about Street Roots right after this. I'm here with KAIA Sands, the executive director of Street Roots.
Thank you for having me, Ciara.
You're so welcome. I've admired you from afar for years and just this organization. And please tell everybody what Street Roots is.
Yeah, Street Roots, we're a newspaper. Actually, this is our current issue. Let's get it.
Oregon Prison celebrates its first Pride event. I would not have known this from another paper.
No, and our reporter Kanani Cortez went down to the Oregon Correctional Institute and was there in person for the event. It did the interviews. We're super proud that we have reporting like that.
Yeah, so you are really a journalism organization.
Absolutely. I mean, this other paper sitting here, our reporter went to Washington, D.C. and was sitting next to the New York Times and everyone else in the Supreme Court when the Grants Pass decision was discussed. So we're the real deal. I mean, we're very committed to journalism.
Is Street Roots throughout multiple cities, or is it just a Portland thing?
It's both, just a Portland thing and throughout multiple cities, in the sense that we're part of a network, an international network. It's based in Glasgow, all over Europe, Japan, Taiwan, Australia, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, Canada, everywhere. So there's a lot of street papers, but we're each our own thing.
Mm-hmm. Almost like you have an Associated Press that can pool resources for those big stories.
I mean, that's such a perfect analogy because we run a wire service. So, for instance, this story ran in countless other street papers nationally, but also internationally.
Well, bring us back to like the mission of the organization. What type of journalism is this?
Yeah, so we're about exploring systemic inequities. So we're not going to be doing some, story that's propping up someone that's already got a lot of power. We're shifting that frame, and we're looking at the stories that really impact people who are often without power.
And who are these journalists?
Yeah, so our journalists are a combination. We pay for our journalism, and we have professional staff of journalists who, have gone through journalism school. We also run journalism classes here so that people on the streets can write for the paper. Oh. So it is a combination. And we also have a lot of poetry in there.
I noticed that.
In the streets, yeah.
Yeah, and there's like a journal you publish too that's all the poetry and things.
Yeah, it's a holiday zine. It's all run by Street Roots vendors. And I should say, so Street Roots vendors are often people experiencing homelessness and poverty. Some people are in housing, and it's low barrier. So, there's so many barriers to employment, stigmas. There's, patchy resume. There's legal entanglements. So folks can walk in and they can go through orientation and just start selling. And really what we're borrowing from is a kind of small business entrepreneurial model. Like this idea that actually, if you want to do it, you can do it.
That's what I love. And that's why Street Roots has art, is that it's like combining nonprofit and social change with entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And I think I would imagine the confidence it gives somebody to run their own business, however small, could be a real game changer for helping people move on to the next stage of life or just restore some of the dignity, after going through really tough things in life.
Yeah, I really admire the courage of every single street food vendor that stands out in public and it's like the town crier, right?
Yeah.
Like keeping journalism alive in our public sphere, talking to people, talking to strangers, building relationships. It takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, and it used to be it's $1, I hand you $1, you get this. Of course, I don't carry cash anymore, unfortunately, and so we can Venmo.
Can Venmo.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't carry cash either, so I Venmo when I buy a paper. And so what we do is some street foods vendors set up their own Venmos, but we have a street foods Venmo so that you can Venmo street roots with the badge number of the vendor.
Okay.
And then they cash out at street roots.
Okay.
So we're finding a way, right? Because there are a certain amount of people who are at the most extreme end of trying to get out of homelessness that don't have access to banking. So cash is really important to keep in the currency.
Sure. My understanding of this business model comes from the great 1992 film Newsies.
Yeah.
And the Newsies would buy the newspapers for half a cent and then sell them for a penny. So they were really independent. And then the conflict happens when it becomes like 0.6 cents instead. And they're like, which who can blame them, right? And so do the vendors buy the paper and then sell it?
They do. And so Newsies, it was at 50%, and Street Roots is at 25%. So people buy it for a quarter, sell it for $1. I really encourage folks to tip your Street Roots.
Yes,
vendor.
I do. I always do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm willing to pay $2, $3, $4, $5 for this paper because I'm getting a perspective I don't get anywhere else, and I know it's going straight to this. It's not going through this whole distribution network that all is getting paid out.
None of the money goes back to Street Roots at that point. It all goes to the vendor, the entrepreneur who is standing on the street.
And now, is that the total focus of Street Roots, or are there other things that you do?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, we become a workplace. So it's people come into our distribution center, right? But then they're getting into the rituals of work and knowing people's names, getting coffee, all those things. We're now expanding. We have this beautiful building on 3rd and Burnside.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the first time I've been in here, centrally located, and I think a real benefit to the neighborhood.
Yeah, we wanted to say yes to Portland. We wanted to say, we can do something really beautiful and folks don't need to hide. We actually should be in the most public space possible, where that's what Street Roots is. We're on the public street corners. Our building should be too. So and part of this building, a lot of our vendors who are now housed kind of they're always paying it forward. So they really advocated for showers and laundry for folks who are coming in and are still homeless. So we have a beautiful wellness center in this building.
That's amazing. Yeah. Wow.
And it really came from the advocacy of Street Roots vendors.
That's awesome. I love that you're listening to the people you serve. If people want to get involved with Street Roots, either, just to learn more, volunteer, donate, what do you recommend?
Well, first of all, meet a vendor, buy a paper, join the movement.
Okay.
And second of all, yes, you can always volunteer here. We have a really, on our website, streetroots.org. Go there and you can find out information about contacting to volunteer, to donate. But I think also just by engaging in the newspaper and the journalism itself, you're going to start to walk into this world, right, that opens up from Street Roots.
Awesome. Thank you, KAIA.
And we have a t-shirt for you. And I want to say what's really cool. We have an illustrator for our newspaper.
Okay.
We're really proud of the work they do. And they designed this, but also Street Roots vendors voted. They came up with the design. So this is really,
Thank you. I will be rocking this year round. It is summer appropriate. It is winter appropriate. All weather, just like those carrying the newspaper to our streets. Thank you so much, KAIA.
Thank you so much.
When we are back in just a moment, we are going to talk to a real Street Roots vendor for the tea on what it's like to be out in the streets. All right, I am joined by my new friend Charles Wickham, aka Phat Adrenaline, a street roots vendor and a rapper. What more could you want? Welcome. Good. Tell me about how you got into doing vending for street roots.
I was I had just lost my job. They had putting me to the curb because somebody had called in about me trying to push my cart down the street, and then they didn't know which way they wanted to go, so they called in, and the people didn't know who it was, and they didn't want to get in a legal confrontation, so they said, "Hey, we gotta let you go." So I was looking at the book that Street Roots produces. They produce a book that has things for wellness and places to eat and things that is a resource guide that
Oh,
they
the
produce.
resource guide. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so cool because it's this little square. You can put it in your pocket and it has all the social services, like how to get there, the number. Okay.
It's stuff like that that you could. And at that one day, and I was like, street roots. And I was like, let me go see what's going on with that. And went there and they told me Wednesday or Friday, come by and take orientation. So went and did that and got started. And man, that when you first start with street roots, it's crazy too, because you gotta try to find a location and downtown, because I was staying at the estates, was like the main location, but there was so many street roots vendors at the time.
Yeah, you need your own territory.
It's crazy. And then you gotta be at least one block apart.
Of
And
course, yeah.
everybody is like trying to be like right by the Pioneer Square mostly. And then you can't be on Pioneer Square too as well. So it's like, oh my god, everybody's trying to be right there.
So how did you find your spot?
And then there's actually panhandlers too, though, that you're like against down here as well. So uh what I did, I ventured out. I ventured out and eventually went interstate by a store where I seen a pass vendor, and then I didn't see him there one time.
Perfect.
I was like, oh, let me go jump on this real quick.
That's good business acumen. Yes.
Hopefully he won't be there again. And so I went out there and I did pretty good. I struck up about $50 my first time out there. I was,
it's on.
It was off of about 30 papers too. So I was like, yeah, that's going on. So I went out there again and did pretty well again. And it just kept going. And so then as a vendor, we have to put in uh application to make that our permanent location. And then I went through that little orientation about that. Like, okay, you're good to go. Pick my hours. I think we get 6 hours, I think it is. Yeah, I think 6 hours. Like, dang, I didn't even know it was that long. That's awesome.
It's a lot.
Because some vendors get really mad about that. They're like, you got 6 hours out here. When a lot of the time I'm not after 3 hours, and I still had vendors coming up trying to sell right beside me.
No.
One day it was just one vendor, and he came up and was like sitting down at the door and was selling a street room like right there like this. I'm like, what the heck?
That's not cool.
I don't like reporting them because we're still street roots vendors and we're still trying to get street roots out there. So yeah, and then people tell me like I already bought one. I'm like, hey,
give it to a friend.
No, that's the thing. I'm not pushing like that. I say thanks for the support. Which I always say thanks for the support because that's the attribute that we're supposed to kind of give to our supporters. Is thank you for the support when they buy one. It's really suggested as a vendor to say that to the people that buy and support us.
So let me ask you a question, which is, what have you learned from being a street roots vendor? Like, why do you keep doing it?
Oh, out here, I keep doing it is because it gives me sales. And when I was younger, I used to sell roses, and I was at a rose. I used to be at a rose stand, and I used to sell roses, and used to break down boxes, and it used to be fun then. So this kind of reminds me of that whole overall, and keep me in sales, and I like I like doing that promotion kind of, and I used to sell tickets to like game events,
Yeah.
and I use that strategic when I'm out there selling these street roots. So I'm like, street roots,
Yeah.
only $1. They're little, stay local, stay rooted.
Stay rooted. I like that.
Street roots. Anyone, someone, 99 cents plus a penny. And then, I got a deal for you today. Buy one, get one for $1. Different things like that. So, and then you got that other one, buy one get one half off plus 50 cents. For the
just you're standing out there, you're getting creative.
Fun times.
And some of your creativity comes from being artists too.
Well, then you put that music in there, and then you go, you're out there just joking around and putting that little bit of thing in there. Give me that street roots, get them whatever. Huh? Here we go. Huh? Got that street roots for you right here. Huh? Fun times.
I would buy from you because of the fun.
Getting it out there, the street roots with it. Getting out there, being active with it sometimes. You gotta stay involved. So that's why I do it. Like I said, you were talking about that hobbyistic, and music is that hobbyistic type of environment where you find joy from it. And right now I'm doing school to try to get that motion of, so I can find other hobbies that I like to get into it. And this is helping me also. This is helping me big time to try to get that schoolistic, and yeah, this is a big help. Because right now, uh I don't have a job per se right now, and I'm looking for a job, but really don't know what I want to go into. I just stopped working flagging in February, and I really am not sure what I want to go into. Like that's the last thing I was like, man, I'm gonna try flagging. And before that, I was doing, I jumped from janitorial to flagging. So I'm not sure what I want to do now.
I mean, you're good at sales, so you have some skills.
That's what I'm saying. I'm working on accounting degree right now, so we'll see what's going on. So
I got to hear about Phat Adrenaline. So PHAT, Phat Adrenaline is your alter ego. Tell us about your rap.
Well, that's
artistry.
I try to do hyphy crap. What I try to do, and I had a couple little mixes. One was like 6 tracks, 7 tracks. The other one was like 7 tracks. I put it out there. One was called Fatback. Yeah, so had to do that one.
Can we hear a couple lines?
I got see, and then how I came into that was because I used to beatbox for people. So
let's hear it.
I used to do that beatbox, and my beatbox. This was my beatbox. This was my original beatbox. I used to do this beatbox right here. This right here. So. Yeah, that's their beatbox I used to do, but that couple bars for you. I spit it to get it, and you wait round to get with it, so you better get with it, because I hop to it, like they've been doing in the media recently, but I'm recently, and I ain't getting out this recently, because I get it greased and I'm sleazily, like any hoe, you be hopping on the floor, and you get them legs spreaded up, and I get breaded up, and cheddar be dropping down your throat, but you better get back, because Phat back, and I get it ate up just like Phat back, and I need my steak like Phat back, or we going to the Outback, and I hop up in it like a kangaroo, and let's do what it do, because I do what it do when we rolling out back, and let's get it in.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I have a surprise for you. Can you bring that beat back? Because I wrote you a rap.
Okay.
For you, okay? It's not as good, but I just put this together.
We'll do like me for you. We'll do like me for you.
Do it, yeah. Okay. Extra, extra. It's time to settle in because you're listening to the sounds of Phat Adrenaline. The latest news, the hottest beats. Get in these papers, in these streets. Used to be the average game, now I just say no. Join up with the Roots game, catch my flow. Pick up your head, you got choices. Find your own style, make your own noises. Ah, yeah! Thank you so much, Charles. Where can we catch you and buy a paper on the street?
I'll be over there in the north in front of Newsies most of the time.
On Interstate
Rosa
Parks?
Okay. And sometimes I'll be over at Safeway over there for Wilder.
Okay.
And so you catch me over there. Most times I'll be over there just chilling out. Sometimes it's the sun beats down that area.
Yeah, this time of year.
So on Safe both of them. I'll be having the umbrella out.
Good idea. If you see Charles on the street, say what's up, buy a paper, and bring him a cold bottle of water because it's hot out there. Thank you so much. When we come back, we're going to hear about a special Street Roots event tonight. We're all like kind of freaking out here still because that was so cool. Welcome to KODEE ZARNKE, and tell us what you do at Street Roots.
Hey, Ciara. So I am our community partnerships manager at Street Roots. So I handle all of our relationships with other nonprofits and businesses, advertising, sponsorships, events, fundraisers, you name it. I'm immersed in the development world, doing what I can to support our organization and our vendors.
That's awesome. You do a great job. And I made a donation to Street Roots last year. KODEE called me up and was like, "Who are you? Why do you support Street Roots?" And I said, well, I think it's so amazing for all the reasons we've already talked about. And also my favorite movie is Newsies. And KODEE, being a younger age than me, was like, "What is Newsies?" And I said, okay. And I have always dreamed of, since I first saw Street Roots vendors, having a screening of Newsies as a fundraiser for Street Roots. And KODEE took me seriously, applied for the free movies in the park that the city Parks and Rec does, and lo and behold, tonight at Overlook Park, we are doing a free screening of Newsies. You can donate to Street Roots if you would like to. Tell us about this event.
Absolutely. And yeah, Ciara, it was about a year ago.
Yeah.
Now we met outside of Deadstock, and you were like, "I've always wanted to like do a screening of Newsies for Street Roots vendors." And I'm like,
and I was like half joking because I thought you would laugh at me.
And I was like, no. We're going to take it up a notch. We're going to do this big, and we're going to make it an event for everyone. So yeah, in partnership with Summer Free For All, with support from our friends at SCIU 503, we are hosting a Movies in the Park and going to be watching Newsies together. It's going to be a great time. We'll be at Overlook Park, just off of Interstate, easily accessible by public transportation. And so festivities will start around 7:30 p.m. tonight. And we'll start off with a dance to seize the day.
Dance lessons. We can learn how to dance to Newsies.
Yes, our friends at Body Box Dance are going to be teaching us the dance to seize the day. And we'll also have your friend DJ Avalanche there spinning tunes. So Phat, come on, like maybe you can spit some tunes with DJ Avalanche. And we'll also have a caricature artist, Street Roots friend Street Books, as well as Pear will be there as well. So make sure to say hi. You can connect with Street Roots at our booth when we're there. Make a donation, learn more. We'll also have this really great raffle prize from Hollywood Theater and Movie Madness. So be sure to check that out. You can win some cool swag to keep your love for movies going. And then the film will start around dusk. So probably sometime after 9.
Yeah.
So bring a blanket, some lawn chairs, your friend, your family. There'll be free popcorn. But it'll be a great time. And it was really important for me to have like a community event for everyone, no matter who you are, whatever walk of life, come watch a movie together.
Yeah, it's totally family friendly. I'm so impressed with all the work you've done on this event. It's really going to be amazing, community focused, open. I'm just so excited.
Yeah.
Now, I was thinking about the movie Newsies this morning and how extraordinary it is, because it is, but also because it would never get made today. This movie, the story, I always described it, it's kind of like a male version of Annie, but it's about these news voices based on a historical, thing that they were selling papers in the streets of New York. And this movie is about unionization. It's about child labor. It's about journalism. It's about speaking truth to power. It's anti-capitalist. Disney would not make this movie now.
Oh no. But it still has the Disney name on it. I'm gonna run with it.
Exactly. So it's an extraordinary opportunity to see it with a bunch of people. And it came out when I was in probably like 8th grade, and so I had a crush on every boy.
Oh, yeah. Young Christian Bale.
I know, young Christian Bale, and we were just so desperate for it to become a stage musical. And Disney did the smartest thing, which is they waited like 20 years to turn it into a Broadway musical when all of us were old enough to afford Broadway tickets. So I saw it in previews on Broadway. Everyone in the audience was my age, women and gay men. And we couldn't sing along because they changed the lyrics in the Broadway show. I was like, Disney, I see what you did there, and I don't blame you, but I'm mad. So the movie's still where it's at. I listened to the soundtrack this morning. It's great.
Yeah, and it's so exciting, especially like the content of this movie plus how it ties to street roots. And like you said in the beginning, like street roots vendors are Portland's very own Newsies. They are doing the same model of purchasing a paper wholesale, selling it on the street to make a profit. Most of these folks are trying to pull themselves up out of poverty or make income and also just find community. And that's what we really see in Newsies too, are people banding together, and our street roots vendors carry the banner. They have a lot of pride in this paper and this organization. One of our vendors the other day was like, oh my gosh, I'm a Newsie. And I'm like, yes, you are. You are a street paper vendor. And like, we're all part of this movement too. Street paper is that, are relying on journalism and advocacy to make change.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for making the street vendors' dreams come true.
We made it happen.
Yes, and for making my dreams come true personally. I hope all of you come out tonight to the show. If you can get there early, 7:30, you can participate in all of the activities and get a great spot on the lawn. If you can't come till 9, you'll still catch the movie. So definitely swing by. It's where the party's at this weekend.
Thanks, Ciara.
Thank you so much. Everybody, have a wonderful weekend. Support Street Roots, Portland Tea Party. We'll see you next week.